I think when you have negligent parents, it can't be made an excuse for because of money or resources or anything like that. I truly believe that you shouldn't be a parent unless you're able to properly take care of children. With this situation, y'all might think I'm a little bit harsh. Some people might be understanding. Well, I'm not that understanding, especially when you're putting children at risk, hurting children, putting them in bad positions, not planning well. All of these things have to be considered before you start to have children. But before we get into talking about this person, let me give you a fair warning, a disclaimer is what I'm trying to say. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And we're getting this story from Law and Crime, my favorite place to get stories. Thank you very much for the article. A 28-year-old mother in Indiana was arrested last week for allegedly keeping her 3-year-old son in a freezing house with no heat for weeks. For weeks with no heat, resulting in the child's foot turning black from frostbite so severe that his leg may have to be amputated. God, you can't be that level of dumb. Can we get a hashtag babies for benefits? What's even wilder about that is the fact that most times when women have kids, they'll give them Section 8 food stamps, energy assistance. You can go down there and bring them your cutoff bill and they'll say, okay, you can't pay it. They'll be like, okay, we'll put a hold on your account and we'll pay it off. I know churches will do it. Organizations will do it. As long as you have a smartphone and know how to make phone calls and access the internet, you can get all of this stuff taken care of, especially if you're a parent in need. Absolutely no excuse for this. Just can't be this level of dumb. Amber Griffith was taken into custody on Thursday and charged with 2 counts of felony neglect of a dependent, resulting in serious bodily injury. It's certainly a disturbing case that our child abuse detectives are working, Officer William Young with the Indianapolis Police Department told Fox affiliate WXIN. According to court documents obtained by the station, Griffith brought her son to the hospital on January 19th because she and her child were both experiencing foot pain. Temperatures that day in the preceding days had dropped into single digits. However, when doctors examined the child, they reportedly found that the entirety of one of his feet had turned black due to severe frostbite. The 3-year-old, 3 years old, went into surgery that day where doctors attempted to remove the damaged tissue from the boy's foot, but later reportedly said that they still may end up having to have his leg amputated just below the knee. So pray for him, and we hope that that does not have to take place. That is so damn sad. Law enforcement authorities were contacted regarding the boy's condition, and investigators learned that Griffin and her son, and y'all got to hear this, live with the boy's grandmother and another relative in a home located in the 1100 block of East Gimber Street. So not even in her own house. What a disgusting, lazy person. In an interview with police, Griffin reportedly said that the home lacked heat and running water because the pipes had frozen. So, okay, you didn't have water because the pipes had frozen. That's one thing. How did it not have heat? Because it sounds like maybe you didn't have electricity, but I don't know. She also admitted to knowing that there was something wrong with her son's foot for nearly a month. That's where you don't get off on it, because that's long term. Amber Griffin said that the child's foot was discolored 2 to 3 weeks prior to going to the hospital, but then became normal again, police wrote in a probable cause affidavit obtained by the Kansas City Star. Amber said 2 to 3 days prior to the hospital, his foot looked normal and maybe a little drained of color. Despite her son's condition, the visit to the hospital was reportedly prompted by Griffin herself beginning to experience pain in her foot. The victim's grandmother reportedly told investigators that she did not know anything was wrong with the boy until she was helping him put his shoes on and they were preparing to go to the hospital. So grandma didn't notice she had frozen pipes and no heat? What kind of stupid people are these? I'm going to look y'all in the camera and just say that maybe I'm not being too critical. Y'all don't think I'm being too critical. Like, how can you be that stupid? Frozen pipes is maybe something you can control, maybe you can't. But how did you know that you didn't have heat with a 3-year-old? How are y'all living with no freaking heat? She didn't know something was wrong. So I think that grandmother passed that stupidity down to the mom, and there you go. It just becomes generational idiocracy. Additionally, Grimace. Griffin allegedly made bizarre claims while speaking to police. She allegedly admitted to using heroin and methamphetamine and that she had given birth to twins last year, then beat one of them to death and buried the child herself. So no heat, no water, but you got heroin and meth. She had given birth to twins last year and beat one of them to death and buried the child herself. What the hell? Police learned that in 2015, Griffin had 2 children taken from her because of the deplorable conditions in which they were living. So why does she keep having kids? Why does she allow the right to keep having kids? What man is having sex with her? Why are men providing her seed? The men are just as dumb. She had 2 of her kids taken already. You should be done with kids. Police executed a search warrant on the home but found no indication of human remains. The investigation is still active and ongoing, but it's so important for adults, not just police and hospital personnel, to speak up for kids whenever you have a case like this. God, you can't be this level of dumb. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Do y'all think that they need to arrest the grandmother also? I think they do. I think they need to go ahead and get her up out of here, give her some prison time, let her finish her days out in prison, because that level of stupidity is dangerous to children. It's dangerous to everybody. But do me a favor and click that thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think about this story. I only got a couple news videos. Real quick.
Kids can't speak for themselves. It's so important to speak up and say something because lots of times kids can't speak for themselves. It's so important to speak up and say something because lots of times kids can't speak for themselves. It's so important to speak up and say something because lots of times kids can't speak for themselves.
How many times have y'all heard me say that these children cannot speak for themselves nor defend themselves against the tyranny of their caretakers? Hashtag if you see something, say something. Thank you, sir, for saying that and repeating our words. I'm glad that that word is spreading, that mantra is spreading, but that's something we've been saying here for a long, long time now, and I'm glad that people are saying more of it.
Now live at 5, an Indianapolis woman is accused of child neglect after authorities say her son's foot turned black from frostbite.
Fox 59's Jesse Wells explains how this case took an unusual twist after detectives.
Let's go ahead and end that right there. I think they shouldn't be done with this. Go charge the grandmother also, because she knew something, saw something, didn't say anything. And this type of thing and not holding people accountable is what perpetuated all of this. So her mother, in this case, the grandmother, was probably never held accountable for anything, which is why she thinks that she can be cool with having frozen pipes and no heat throughout the house. Don't even know if they had electricity or not. And then you have this daughter who grew up not knowing how to be held accountable. And then she ends up doing this. And then she's got money for heroin and methamphetamine. Priorities. Definitely don't need to be a mother. She should never have access to children ever again. Give her a life sentence. Why does she need to be out of prison? You don't fix this type of mentality. You just have to punish it straight up and down. So pray for that kid. Pray for that kid makes a full recovery. But it doesn't look, the prognosis does not look good to be able to save that foot or that leg or anything like that. So just hope for the best on that situation. But what a terrible, terrible individual. Both of them. The mother and the grandmother.